some rods on top of that shelf.
Which was so successful because of the fact that was here with Apollo 14, which I had the privilege to command. And that indeed was a special experience for me, not because I absolutely believe it led to giving me the opportunity of eventually flying and commanding Apollo 17, but I've often gone back, and some of you young folks out there ought to think about this too. 10 years before Al flew, I was a young lieutenant on the West Coast. I was getting up at 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this Navy test pilot get on top of a Redstone rocket, vault somewhere out in space, not even sure where it was. It was less than 10 years to the day that I stood side by side with Alan Shepard the night before he went to the moon. Miracles do happen if you truly do believe in yourself. Apollo 17 was good news, bad news. It was good news because it was a successful completion of, I think, probably one of mankind's greatest adventures in its history. And it was bad news because it was the end. We like to think of it at that time more than 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago, Apollo 17 flew in December of 1972, almost a generation ago. The end of Apollo, that it was not the end, but it was the end of the beginning. And I hope we have time to go into the significance of what that beginning meant and where it's brought us, or hasn't brought us today before we finish here. Because truly, I think many of us are disappointed that beginning never continued. Sometimes I look back at Apollo and I probably, in 100 or 200 years, historians may wonder what we were doing, because Apollo seemed to be some kind of little company of its time, talking about going into Earth more than 100, 200 miles away from space. We're talking about building a space station when indeed a generation ago we had left this planet of ours and literally lived in all places like Tranquility Base and Torsten House, from our home. That's happening. That's history. And yet today we somehow put the capability of that history in bar and destroyed a great deal of us of it, and are asking ourselves if we should do it again, why we should do it again. As I say, I'll try and go quickly because I don't want to get into those kind of things today. The highlights of Apollo 17. Well, having been to the moon once before, I felt somewhat prepared for the opportunity of going back again. The highlights, obviously, it was an iPhone. It was the first ever iPhone space trip, which was spectacular. But inside the cockpit, I pointed out from people who were watching the best dressed description I had, like the universe from it out. We also launched another very significant day in history. Just after midnight, about half past midnight on December 7th, 1972, that we launched that final mission of Apollo. Obviously, another highlight that I was given the opportunity, and certainly of going back to the moon and covering the evidence that was in 2000. And perhaps equally important to me, it was an opportunity for me to accept the responsibility of commanding my own. Not to give orders, not to tell people what to do, but somewhere there was a thread of being commander of that squadron warship that when you joined the space program, you gave up an opportunity that I had been handed, and this was sort of what replaced it, quite frankly, very, very long. So we went to a mountainous region, landed in the valley that was surrounded by mountains that are higher than any canyon. Apollo 17